Hello all, Mr. Fox here. Today I'm going to talk about some of the other weird things I've encountered in the comic book world. And one of those things is how to draw a comic. For those of you who don't know, it says from the pages of Wizard, the comics magazine. So Wizard, as far as I remember back in the day, especially when I was growing up through the 80s and 90s, was a comic book price guide. And this here shows you how to draw. So, let's see how well that works out. Here's the Wizard price guide you see there. Welcome to Wizard. This is actually pretty neat. You can see it shows you the basics of arm and leg building. Spin Doctor, sticking with it. This is pretty neat here. Basic bodybuilding concepts. This is actually pretty interesting because it shows you the basics. Rubbernecking. This is how you pose the head and posing the body. This is pretty neat because if you practice this enough, you'll probably get really good at drawing. Simple skeletons are always the basis for beginning. Facial expressions, characting. These are all Marvel characters here, it looks like. That makes sense. This is actually really cool. It breaks some things down. This was actually really fun to encounter this because I never knew anything like this existed. Now, I stopped reading comics for at least 10 years until around 2010 because I lost interest in comic books around the year 2000. 2010, I picked one up to see what was going on in the comic book world. And that's enough about modern comics, but this is actually really fun. They explain quite a few things. What's this pro tips here? Drawing characters with realistic smiles on their faces seems to attract the reader. Seems to attract reader attention. Fans are used to seeing bleak, harsh grimaces and scowls that looking at, say, grimaces and scowls that looking at, say, Wonder Woman smiling back at them is effective somehow. Comics needn't always be so negative. Positive images, because of their rarity in this medium, seem to sell better right now. So it's saying that positive images over negative images are currently selling better in the current market. And let's see if it says when this was printed. No, it doesn't. So, this is actually really cool. I like this art here. This is kind of interesting. Drawing iconic covers. Wizard has had a lot of cool covers over the years. But, Jim Lee is a really famous, popular comic artist. One of my favorite comic book artists of all time is actually Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby, in case you didn't know, actually created most of the Marvel Universe we know today, such as Captain America, Galactus, the Silver Surfer, all Jack Kirby. Anyway, fun stuff. This looks like it was from around 2008. But I would say this is actually fairly interesting. it does have some good tips on how to draw. It does teach you how to draw basics and such. I like the artwork here and here. It's a pretty different style, I guess. Anyway, I haven't seen Wizard magazine around in a long time. I don't know if it's still going. I should probably look that up. In fact, let's look it up right now. Let's see. Oh, it says here that Wizard was relaunched with issue number 228 in August of 2010. Let's see. It doesn't mention if it's still active. Ah, yep. Final issue was in March 2011. Yeah, so they ceased publication in 2011. So Wizard magazines aren't around anymore, apparently. That's kind of sad. I'm glad I looked that up. I always wondered what happened to the Wizard Comics price guides and why I didn't see them anymore. It mentions an article with Bleeding Cool that talks about that. Comics News website, I've heard about them. As much as comics are interesting to me, I usually don't pay too much attention to the mainstream media. Anyway, this was actually really cool. I hope you like seeing it, and I enjoyed sharing it with you. Thanks for listening on, and I'll see you next time. Have a good night, folks.